Welcome to Educare. In this video, we're gonna discuss Two Dear, which was written by Leo Tolstoy in detail. Along with the explanation, I give a complete summary. It is helpful to the students and also helpful to the teachers, those who are teaching this lesson. And this may be 1 or 2 minutes lengthy, but listen this video completely. Then only you will get the complete idea of this lesson. Let us start. Two Dear. Seeing this word, you can understand that it is lovely one or those who are the friendly one. You will understand, but this is not the meaning of this word, dear. Here, too dear means expensive, costly, something. Okay, here what is costly, what is expensive thing was done by the writer in this lesson. That you will understand while reading. Let us start. About the author, Leo Tolstoy is one of the greatest Russian novelists and he is known the world over for his literary masterpieces. Leo Tolstoy is a Russian novelist and he is a well-known writer from Russia, and he was remained in the minds of the readers by his masterpieces. He was born into an aristocratic family in Russia. Aristocratic family means well studied, well educated, okay, having a good position in the society. Okay, in Russia, but both his parents died. Okay, at the early age, he lost his parents, and he and his children were brought up by his relatives. Okay, when he was just over 40 years age, he he turned towards the spiritualism, because within the 40 years, it means when he lost his parents and other relatives, he faced so many problems and he had seen ups and downs in his life, and finally he went through the spiritualism, believing that one should live according to one's inner goodness. See, most of the people, they focus on their positive negativeness. It means this is bad in me, that always they focus on the bad. Here, Leo Tolstoy says that no need to focus on the bad. First, you focus on the goodness what is in you. So, based on that, you live, he says. It means overall, he says that you have to develop a positive attitude towards your life. Then only you will move into the positive world. He advocated his time to writing novels and with his acute observation of life. And he wrote his novels, essays, and stories based on his observation, not simply on imagination. He practically observed. After that, he wrote the novels. This is about the Leo Tolstoy. Let us start the lesson now. Monaco is a tiny kingdom on the Mediterranean Sea with 7,000 inhabitants. Monaco is a kingdom which was located in the seashore of the Mediterranean Sea. You can see in the picture the red colored arrow is a shows that Monaco kingdom located. And see, it is the Italy, France, and other kingdoms are proximity to this kingdom. Here in the lesson, the word is used, the tiny kingdom. What does it mean? Tiny means a little kingdom. Okay, it has a small land body that which can be less than of acre if divided for each head. How much small means totally the 7,000 inhabitants are there. If the country's land body is distributed among the people, each one will get less than a half acre. The toy kingdom has a real kinglet. And see, the tiny kingdom, you you can understand. I think you may understand that it is a small one, but it is a tiny, but it has a king like other kingdoms have. Has a real kinglet, a palace, courtier, ministers, bishop, and army with only 60 men, just like other kings. This kingdom has a real kinglet. Kinglet and king, what is the difference means here? King, it is for the real, the large kingdom. Kinglet means here tiny kingdom, no? So that the writer used this word. He's like prince. Okay, a little a king, nothing but. The kingdom was surviving on the taxes collected from the gaming houses and roulette drinking and smoking. See, every kingdom has a source to run day-to-day administration, that is the taxes. The kingdom collects the taxes from the people and spends on the public facilities like laying of roads, providing water facilities, construction of houses, hospitals, schools, etc. For all these things, the government takes collects money from the people in the form of the taxes. As this kingdom also having the source to collect the revenue from the people. Once upon the main sources are gaming houses. Gaming houses means like gambling houses. Okay, the locations of the gaming houses. Roulette means a spin will be okay. On the spin, a ball is placed. When it comes and stops at a particular number, that amount is uh, won by another person. Dri- Drink and smoke. Here, drink means wine. Smoke means tobacco. Okay, the tax revenue was used for day-to-day administration in the kingdom. Once upon a time, gambling was prominent in Europe. Later, it was forbidden because it did so much harm. Okay, before this, earlier, so many gaming houses were there. The gambling was prominent in European countries like France, Italy, Germany, and other countries. But later, it was those were all closed because the governments came to know that these houses are damaging the society and doing so much harm. Monaco became monopoly in this business as there was no one to stop the king. But monopoly continued. Other European countries closed and forbidden all the gaming houses. But Monaco itself continued because only it has the source to collect the taxes. Because the person who is managing the gaming houses, that person has to pay tax to the king. Okay, uh, whether he gets a profit or loss, whatever, but the whatever the amount is fixed that he has to pay in the form of tax to the king, so that this become a prominent and significant in the revenue, so that it is continuous. You can't earn a stone palace by honest labor. Here a is missing before the stone, just you add. You can't earn a stone palace by honest labor. As the proverb says, the king knows it is a dirty business, but he has to live, so he did. So here, by the honest labor, we can't achieve much. We can't earn much. So that some badness will be that some activities should be against the society and law. Though we have to continue because there is no other source for income. So the king also knows that this is a dirty business. Though he continues because he has to run, he has to survive in the kingdom. The kingdom was peaceful. A few years ago, a murder committed in this toy king's domain. So far, the kingdom was very peaceful because no one was disturbing. Everything was smoothly running. The harmony was established in the kingdom by the king. Now suddenly the thunder has had fallen. That is a murder committed. A person killed another person in the toy's kingdom. This never happened before in that kingdom. This was a peculiar activity was done. Then the king called all the judges. What punishment has to be given to that person? So there was an assembly. Judges were assembled and condemned to have his head cut off, as the law directs. According to the law of Monaco, that law says that if anybody commits this kind of murder, that person's head must be cut off according to the law. So they submitted the sentence to the king. Here, sentence means the punishment. So they decided and submitted a copy of a sentence to the king. The king accepted that. But there was no guillotine to execute him. The ministers decided to inquire to the French government for this. A week later, the reply came. A machine and an expert could be supplied, and the cost would be 16,000 francs. Okay, Here 16,000 francs. Okay, to punish him, to cut his head off, there should be a need of a machine is required. That machine is Galilean. That Monaco kingdom didn't have that. Then what to do? Now the next kingdom is nearby the kingdom, that is French government is and they contacted to that. They sent an inquiry to the French government to have that machine and an expert. The French government replied after a week that they supply berths that costs 16,000 francs. The king thought that it would be more burden on the people and it may cause a riot. The king thought that 16,000 francs is a very costly. It is too dear, too expensive and costly. So he wanted to set another way to reduce that. Earlier, the French government used it to cut the heads off of the prisoners with this machine. With this machine that is say on the picture I'm showing you that the Galilean is like this. A similar inquiry was sent to the kinglet of Italy and got a prompt reply with the cost of 12,000 francs. Next, the same request, the inquiry sent to the Italy, and this was the uh, cheaper response came because different Italian government gave the response promptly, and they said that it cost 12,000 francs. And the king thought that it is a cheaper, but still it seemed too much. The king called generals to find a soldier who was trained for, because the king's army was not taught the king, they couldn't find such soldier. Then he called all his ministers, generals to discuss about the issue, because if they supply the Galilean machine and a soldier is needed to operate that, and he should be trained in cutting heads off. Thus, the ministers were assembled and resolved to alter the death sentence to the imprisonment for life. And finally, they decided that it is very expensive. So first, the French government said that proposal was rejected because that is an expensive. Secondly, they sent the same inquiry to the Italy, and that is also expensive. And what is the solution for this now? And we can't afford that much price, but we have to give punishment. What to do? The same question is kept in front of the courtiers, ministers and generals. And finally they discussed and they said that the only solution is to alter his sentence. Alter means changing. It means actually the death sentence is given, so instead of giving that, just give him a life imprisonment. Okay, so the altering can give solution for that. The kinglet agreed with this, but there was no suitable prison for a man sentenced for life. They managed to find a place and placed a guard to watch the criminal and fetch him food. Okay, finally, they resolved that they altered the death punishment, and that turned into the imprisonment for life. Life punishment is given. It means until the end of his life he has to stay in the prison. But to execute that, there is no such a place to keep him. So that is why, and they have been searching for that, because earlier that couldn't happen before, because nobody was punished in such a way in that kingdom, so that they didn't had that kind of rooms, the special rooms to treat them. Now they managed with a small room with a god. Okay, and the food is given from the king's kitchen. It seemed too expensive to look after the criminal with 600 francs a year, and the worst of it was that the fellow still young and healthy. This one also seemed expensive to the king. It is also too dear, because every year they have to spend 600 francs for him for his maintenance. So that he thought that. And one more thing, the king thought that this fellow is not a older one, and he is a young fellow, He might live 50 years. It means every year 600 means up to 50 years they have to spend this money. The ministers met again. The ministers met and reconsidered to dismiss the god. So the criminal will run away. And again the king called all the ministers to resolve this. And they came to conclusion. That is, okay, keeping him in the prison with a god, that is expensive, so that let us remove the god. When the god is not in front of him to watch him, then the prisoner will escape, will run away from there, so the problem will be solved, they thought that. But the criminal did not run away. He fetched his food from king's kitchen himself. The minister asked him to run away from there, as the god was not to watch him. Then the criminal said that they had ruined his character by their sentence and treated him badly. Then a minister came and asked him, there is no God, then you can easily escape. Then why are you staying in the prison? Then he said that I don't want, because he doesn't want to go out, because they insulted him. They they ruined his character in the society by changing every time his sentence from death to life, life to again running away from the prison. So, and moreover that he he got out of way of working. Again, the minister's council was summoned to consider and reconsider the issue. So the same thing presented in front of the king. Again, the king called all the ministers and he asked them the resolution on this issue. Finally, they reported the king to offer him a pension. The sum was fixed to 600 francs. So the matter was settled. The criminal received one third of his annuity in advance and left the king's dominions by rail. He lived peacefully and went well and across the frontier of the kingdom. And the solution, they came to the solution by offering a pension. So with this pension, he takes his pension and goes out. So there will be no issue with this one. And the sum was fixed as a 600 francs. He took that in advance, one third of his annuity taken, and left the kingdom, and he lived there happily. Okay, this is the summary and explanation of this text. Okay, I have taken a little bit simplified text, original text. I think this will help you. If you understood well, just write in the comment section. And one more thing, if you want any lesson, that lesson title also you leave in the comment section. I will do for you. Subscribing and liking, that is your wish, because I wanted to help you. If you wish to help educate, then you do that. Otherwise, don't. Thank you.